So thank you so much. It's an awesome crowd that we have here, and everybody did the appropriate praying for the weather, so I hope I didn't misspeak on that one. It's phenomenal, the groups that we brought together here, and we have, we'd like to acknowledge first, Mass Ideas is the group that is sponsoring this event, that gave us a grant that made this possible. And we have some great partnerships, Cohasset Center for Student Coastal Research, CCSCR, Cohasset Public Schools, and the University of Massachusetts, and a host of community partners all coming together today to explore project-based learning. So we're really thankful for everybody's participation. We're especially grateful for the partnerships that we have, and we've been guided through this myself, Ann Tomei, Patty McGrail, Susan Bryant. We originally formed a team that went to a conference on school design, and we were talking about project-based learning, and that's where we met Liza Vito. And Liza is our facilitator for the day. She was phenomenal. We loved her, and we couldn't wait to have her back here in Cohasset. So I'm going to turn it over to Liza, and thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me in Cohasset today. This is my first time, well, yesterday was my first time, but this trip is my first time in Cohasset. I love what you've done with the weather on the upswing today compared to yesterday. I think especially for some of the activities we have today. So we're going to get outside. We're really excited about that. And just want to start off, and hopefully this will show you right away, this is not going to be a day where you're sitting in your chair all the time. Because I don't like to do that to people in August, particularly for adult learning in August. That's deadly, right? So just to warm us up, we want to look at who's here today. There are a bunch of different stakeholders here today to talk about project-based learning. So I'm going to ask folks to stand if you hear something about you called, okay? So anyone of any age who's a student currently anywhere at any educational institution. Excellent, welcome. Thank you. Anyone who's a parent? Parents well represented here today. Thank you for your service. Anyone who's a teacher? Again, anywhere, any kind of teacher. Awesome. An administrator? Thank you, administrators. Anyone who works or studies at a college or university? Awesome. Thank you. Anyone who's a town official here in Cohasset or nearby? Welcome. Welcome. Thank you for coming. And anyone who's a local business owner or in a community organization, again, Cohasset or surrounding community. Excellent. Did I not represent someone in that of our stakeholders today? Who'd I miss? I feel like everybody stood up. True? All right. Great. All right, so in addition to all the stakeholders we have in the room, folks have a lot of what we call superpowers that they bring to the work we're going to do today. These are not necessarily things you would ever put on a resume, but you're really good at them. So they can be professional, they can be personal, they can be sports, crafts, anything you do that you're really great at is something you would share here. So I can kick us off and say, my name is Liza. I'm from Mass Ideas, which is about innovating design and education for all students. And my superpower is that when I look at a big mess, I can figure out the order in it really quickly. Jack. What's your superpower, Jack?
She looked at me and saw a mess. My superpower is I can do a day's worth of email between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m.
Wow. That's true. I agree with that.
My name's Jim Willis from the high school, and my superpower is that I can come to an all-day conference and run a summer camp 3 towns away with 260 kids at the same time.
Yeah.
I hope.
My name's Alicia Herman. I am the Community Programs Coordinator at South Shore Arts Center. And I guess my superpower is 10 years ago, I had twins. So I made 2 babies at once.
That definitely
My name is Chauncey Cunning. I am a parent of 2 Cohasset Public School students, and I'm representing the Cohasset Education Foundation. And my superpower is multitasking.
That's good. I'm Susie Corkum. I'm a 4th grade teacher in Cohasset, and I guess my superpower is leaving a list of things for my kids to do when I'm at a conference.
You'll find out.
Yeah, I'll be texting later.
Hi, I'm Eileen Norton, high school English teacher in Cohasset. And I guess Jim Willis might say that I am the one teacher who wears highlighter colors on the most consecutive days.
What's your streak? What's your streak?
Oh, it's just still going. Ongoing, yeah.
Hi, I'm Doug Coulard. I publish a local community newsletter called Life on the Rocks. And my superpower is using the power of the newsletter, which is mostly community-generated content, to help bring a community a little closer together.
I'm Susie Tully. I actually am a high school teacher in Natick, but I'm also a grad student at UMass Boston, getting my master's in using project-based learning to teach environmental science. So it seems like a good fit. And I mean, my whole life, I guess I've been really good at basketball.
Wow, nice.
Ed Savage, high school biology teacher. Superpower is tough. Maybe
There's so many.
the inabilities to sit still. I need to multitask.
Peter Dillon. I'm a geologist. I guess my superpower is I can still ride the Cunningham RIP after graduating from Cohasset in '76.
My name's Nicole Whitman Weber, and I'm a PhD student at UMass Boston. And I think my superpower is being able to write for 7 hours a day. Reluctantly, but yeah.
Nicole Garrity. I'm the program director for Safe Harbor Cohasset Coalition, and I'd say my superpower would be I survived life with 5 brothers, and I still am.
I'm Joe Berger. I'm the Dean of the College of Education and Human Development at UMass Boston, and my superpower is taking my work seriously but not taking myself very seriously.
Hi, I'm Paula Jewell. I teach middle school science, 7th and 8th grade, and I'm also a project leader at CSCR. And I think my new superpower is going to be not the typing thing, which you guys expect, creating dialogue for dogs who can't speak. So as I'm walking with them, I'm like, oh, my name is Dusty.
Oh, that's awesome.
My name is Peter Matchik. I'm the director of planning. My superpower is it's tough to follow up with speaking to the dogs, but I go to a lot of night meetings, so I drink a lot of coffee all day, and I still go to bed at a decent time.
I'm Katie Holden. I'm on the Cohasset Conservation Trust Open Space Committee, and my superpower is making quests. I make treasure hunts in the woods to get kids to know what their local area is.
I'm Colleen Richardson. I'm an alum of CSCR and the public school system here, but finished a postdoc in college pedagogy and all of that world. My superpower would be recommending books to people based on if they tell me something they've liked, I'll find them their next book.
Okay, we're all going to see you
Yeah.
I'm Janice Mcphillips. I work at Holly Hill Farm. I'm an educator there. I do outreach as well. And my superpower is that I make getting your hands dirty by sticking them in compost really educational and really fun.
I'm Joy Schiffman, a local resident, mother also of twins. I have that superpower. The superpower I'm trying to develop is throwing a 250th birthday party for the town of Cohasset in a year and a half and having everybody participate and have a great time.
Hi, hey, my name's Michael Macmillan. I'm the new Director of Finance and Operations for Cohasset Public Schools, so I'm 3 days into my job. So, thank you very much. So my superpower is probably, as a necessity, is spreadsheets. So I love all the That's what I said in my interview, so.
Hi, I'm Laura Humphrey. I'm a math teacher at the high school, and I think probably my students, who many are here, And colleagues might say my superpower is I'm a great cheerleader. With cheerleading, I can do a pretty good job of convincing anyone to do pretty much anything. I usually get what I want.
Hi, I'm Cindy Prentice. I'm the Executive Director of Holly Hill Farm in Cohasset. My superpower is I'm a patient listener and a positive negotiator.
Oh, that's awesome. Hi, my name is Sarah Shannon. I am a parent in town, but I am also a middle school principal. I was the principal in Situate and currently the principal at the middle school in Canton. For this purpose, I'd say my superpower is project-based learning because for the past 3 years, I worked for the Buck Institute for Education with school districts around the country, helping them become project-based learning schools and districts.
Christine Harris. I'm a science educator. I currently teach programs for the North and South Rivers watershed and do professional development for teachers. My superpower, I think, is being really creative and having lots of ideas and being able to bring people together to make them happen.
Very nice.
Hi, I'm Robin Hannigan. I'm the Dean of the School for the Environment at UMass Boston. My superpower is probably turning everything into an opportunity.
Yeah, love that.
I'm Pat Sullivan. I'm the assistant superintendent here in Cohasset. I have 4 kids under 9, so my superpower definitely has something to do with beating kids and changing diapers.
Did you say beating?
Nope. Let me make sure everyone heard that correctly. Not beating kids. Feeding. Feeding kids. Feed them. Started off really well. That's great. Did you get that on camera? Thank you.
Oh, man.
My name's Peter Fanison.
My name's Peter Fanison. I'm a CHS high school teacher. I like to, I graduated with Pat and take the pressure off of Pat by saying I like to drink beer. But at the same time, I'm Jack Buckley's kryptonite, so I'm trying to keep up with him.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ann Tomei. I'm the science department chair at Cohasset High School, middle high school. I teach chemistry. I would say, and this is the parent of one of my students, and there's a lot of my students in the room, and I'd say that my superpower that allows me to connect with students is that I'm cool.
She is cool. My name is Chuck Labash. I'm a resident in town here, also a parent, and I also work at the University of Rhode Island Environmental Data Center in Kingston, Rhode Island. And I'd have to say my superpower is a long commute, staying awake. And like Michael, I work on spreadsheets, but not while I'm driving.
Hello everyone, I'm Gail St. Peter. I'm a 6th grade science teacher at Cohasset Middle School. I'm also a farmer. I raise beef cattle. My superpower would be my passion and love for learning and for teaching.
Hi everyone, I'm Scott Popper. I work for Suez. We manage, operate the town of Cohasset wastewater facility. My superpower would be continuing to drive home every day knowing there are 3 teenagers waiting for me.
Hi everyone, I'm Elaine Montez. I'm a PhD student at UMass Boston, and I think my superpower is making truly edible food for my friends who are gluten-free and vegan.
Wow. Hi everybody, I'm Sue Skeeber. I'm retired superintendent, but presently have been working with Cohasset in digital learning. I guess my superpower would be I can't give up on anything. After being retired, I think this is the end of my 8th year. I'm still very into it. And some people call that being stubborn. I don't. I think it's stick to it.
Hi everyone, my name is Rizarta. I'm an instruction designer at UMass Boston. I work with faculty to integrate technology in the pedagogy of teaching, and probably my superpower is understanding what they need without any technical terms.
My name's Heather Praxis. I'm a high school special education teacher in Cohasset. I'd say my superpower is that I tend to wait to the last minute for everything, but I get everything done. So.
Hi, I'm.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Oh, sorry. Hi. I'm Jean Chambers. I'm a 7th grade science teacher at Gates Middle School in Situate. And I think I would say that my superpower is, after 30-something years of teaching, I still get super excited about new ideas, and sometimes it brings me to tears. And even if they don't work out always, I still don't give up.
I'm Cathy Cerruti. I'm the school librarian at Cohasset Middle High School, and I teach 8th grade research. And I'd say my superpower is being able to drop everything when a very frazzled high school student comes in and says, Mrs. Cerruti, I've got a 10-page paper due for Coach A tomorrow and I have no sources. Can you help me find something?
I'm Dory Reed. I am a 6th grade teacher, science teacher at Gates Middle School in Situate. My superpower, I think, is that I can sing in any situation, from an American gospel group in Italy to a barbershop quartet to magical open mics and any community choir that will have me.
We're going to test
it.
Hi, I'm Hannah Stroud. I'm a PhD student at UMass Boston, and I'd say that my superpower is, even though I'm a PhD student, I still have maintained relationships with my family that's over 3,000 miles away, and they know I'm alive.
My name is Jen Scott. I'm a French teacher at Cohasset High School, and I would say my superpower is that I have a really good memory, which sometimes gets uncomfortable when I remember people and things that they don't remember. Also means that I am pretty decent at trivia.
My name's Patty Thompson, and I'm a science teacher at the Cohasset High School. I teach biochem and environmental science. And apparently my superpower this week is that out of 9 raised bed gardens, I had the ability to have every cucumber ripe and needed to be picked at the exact same time. That is about 200 pounds.
Hi, I'm Irene Yukanov. I'm the colleague of Rizarta and, from UMass Boston. So my superpower to be spontaneous. So if I'm called to come on a meeting, within 24 hours and learn something new, I get excited and I go.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me here.
My name is Kim Riley, and I'm the co-founder of Everybody Water, which is a company that's launching soon. It's water in a carton, not plastic. My superpower is getting people really excited about supporting clean water projects, specifically through Water First International. And I'm feeling really super because after a couple of years of efforts, we've just been able to give 350 people clean running water in their homes, and a toilet and a shower.
Hello, my name is Jason Mccabe. I'm an English teacher at Cohasset High School. My superpower is attending 8-hour-long project-based learning summits on the day when I've been married to my wife for 15 years and keeping her from leaving me. So far.
My name is Bob. I'm an oceanographer in the School for the Environment at UMass Boston, and I'm a youth soccer coach.
My name is Alex Sullivan. I'm the principal of the Deer Hill School, and my superpower is my ability to connect with children and really know them, often through a book that we've shared together and fostering that love of reading.
Hey everyone, my name is Chris Collar, and I'm the project coordinator for Safe Harbor Cohasset. And I'd say my superpower is data collection, specifically qualitative data.
Hi everybody, I'm Lisa Capobianco. I teach special ed at the high school, and I would say my superpower is keeping track of 4 grades worth of students and all their different classes and their assignments.
I'm Karen Bailey Francois. I'm the relatively new pastor for Second Congregational Church here in Cohasset. I think my superpower is helping people and technology of different cultures, generations, and disciplines to work together.
I'm Anne-Marie Runfola. I'm the acting deputy superintendent of Stellwagen Bank, National Marine Sanctuary. My day job is also volunteer program coordinator, rec fishing liaison, and sanctuary advisory council coordinator for the sanctuary. We're wearing multiple hats. My superpower is identifying and nurturing partnerships that are mutually beneficial.
I'm Alan Girelli from UMass Boston, and I direct the Center for Innovation and Excellence in E-Learning. And my superpower is convincing practitioners to research their own work and share it in writing, and then helping them to do that effectively.
Hi, I'm Ann Smercina. I'm also with the Stellwagen Bank National Marine Sanctuary. I'm the Education and Outreach Coordinator, also exhibits, social media, and regular media. My superpower is turning STEM to STEAM. I run a marine species art contest. We've had up to about 900 entries a year. And also in my job, I do science writing, but I also turn it into publications and exhibits.
I'm Chris Senior. I'm the town manager in Cohasset. I would have to say that my biggest superpower is the ability to attend limitless meetings.
Jason Federico, an engineer with the town of Cohasset. I could say my superpower is having 3 kids under the age of 3 and still getting here before this meeting. But I make maps as my superpower.
Yeah.
I'm Susan Bryan, I'm from CCSCR, and my superpower is being able to have fun in any kind of weather outdoors.
Awesome. That was good.
You got one? Yes. Okay, turn to someone next to you. It won't exactly work, but find someone adjacent to you so we're not moving around. And with your first partner, you're each going to share with the other what that learning experience was. Okay? Just briefly. All right, go.
Sixth grade.
Even though it felt a little bit long doing that superpower, I enjoyed every single person's offering. It was phenomenal to listen to the number of different groups that are represented here, the phenomenal superpowers, the community connections, the partnerships that we have here are phenomenal. And on that note, it actually speaks to the third point there about connection. The main objective here is not only to dive into project-based learning, but to take what is here in the room and carry it forward after today. This is not intended to be a one and done. This is intended to be the beginning of really something powerful and great. And there are so many people, I'll pull Scott out as an example, as a member of the community. Scott Papa over there does a phenomenal job taking students through the wastewater treatment plant. And one quick little anecdote, I had a senior in high school tell me last spring it was one of the best field trips that he had ever been on, being in the wastewater treatment plant, because he just didn't know that this stuff happened. And you know, you can spin that 1,000 different ways and connect it to so many different academic disciplines. And sort of to cue on what Liza said, keep thinking about those academic connections as well as the community connections. And we'll reflect during the day, and as Liza had said, we'll be getting outside in a moment. So it's about having the experience, through the process of the experience, reflecting on that, and reaching out to everybody here in the community and trying to figure out how we, as individual members of the community, can connect with the teachers and the administrators, whether we're in Scituate or Cohasset, really doesn't matter, with our partners from UMass, or with our parents who also work at the University of Rhode Island, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The power of the connections that I listened to here in the room was truly phenomenal. And it's really what got us all excited about pulling this together. So I would repeat myself, but I think it's worth just saying one final time. It's phenomenal how many people are here. It's phenomenal how many people were interested in participating. And the power in the room, the power to capitalize on these community connections is exponentially great, if that makes sense. I don't think it made sense grammatically, but you get the point. All right, so thanks, Liza.
Okay,
So one of the things that with a group work like this is to have all the groups functioning well and having everybody in the group feeling like they're participating and on an equal footing. So we have people with various roles here today, and I'm going to share some of the norms that we enjoyed being coached on when we were in Springfield with Liza and her team from Mass Ideas. They gave us some of these ideas, and it kept us talking well and productively. So I'm going to start with this one, to listen as a learner. So despite all your expertise as educators, I want you to also think about being a learner and being like your students. And not necessarily your angelic National Honor Society student, but maybe your difficult student. Maybe the one who's zany, maybe the one who's lazy, maybe the one who's too high energy. So think about some of your difficult students as you go through this and see if as you go, whether you could envision them learning in a different way. So that's one of the things. We are all here not for us, not to raise ourselves up, but to serve students better. So and better educate them. And that means all students. So they reminded us to often think about the student who is the farthest away from success. So the student that is not being reached, so think about them. Okay, so that also mixes with be present. So you're here today. You don't need to network in any other way. Please don't lobby our town officials. Focus on what you're doing. We're here, we're going to be outdoors, we're going to be having fun, and we're trying to push a lot of things into one day. So be present and focused on that, and try to remember to bring the conversation back to the present tense and what's around you and who's around you. As far as getting along in a group, we found that this was helpful language to think about. Some people tend to always be the people in a group who step forward and step up and say things, and some people tend to always be the people that step back. So they did a nice job of reminding us that we have a history of different power structures throughout our country, and it's particularly helpful to remember that and remember that we should all be making an effort to address those traditional power imbalances in the country and reach out to people who have traditionally been less represented. And if you're one of those people that has traditionally stepped back, give it a try of stepping up. And if you're the person who steps up, make sure you step back and let other people step back and let other people step up. We also found that this is useful. Keep participating even if you are feeling uncomfortable. Getting through the discomfort is educational for everybody. And in that note, we also were coached to have a great little expression. Now, if you're French, this might not work because there's always the mais non. But in English, we don't particularly enjoy being told no. I'm sure you have a student that does not enjoy being told no. So one of the things that we learned to do is switch no but to yes and. So if somebody has one point, you say yes, and maybe we could also do this. So keeping your language positive will help keep things going in a positive direction. And we are going to be using technology as a tool, not a distraction. This is something, of course, you might be telling to your teenagers. No. But we do have technology being used to implement our participation today. So it's a mix of things. So don't get distracted with somebody sending you a message. And remember that this is a challenge that both young people and adults have to deal with, is managing our social media and how distracting it is.
So power of place. We will be outside in the beautiful area here in just a few minutes. And there are some specific instructions on what the expectations are. They are in your folder under the power of place, and we will go over those. The important thing that I want to convey, that the group wants to convey to you today, is that when we're out in the place, that keep in mind that we are not observers of the place. We are in the place. We are part of that place. So as you are asked to quietly, silently observe, do your best to observe perhaps from a different frame point, perhaps through different lenses, as now being immersed in the place and part of it, not just somebody stepping aside and seeing a beautiful scene and observing that beautiful scene. Okay? So we'll be dividing up into our groups. The numbers that you put down on your cards are the site that you will begin at, and move around to 3 places from there. Okay? From that into other places.
You're going to have a Sherpa or guide who will get you to your first station. When you leave this room, you can either decide if you're going to do your work at the stations on your phone using the Blackboard app, or some people prefer to go old school and do clipboard, pen and pencil, paper. Any of those is fine. You're going to spend about 20 minutes at each station completing the assignment at each station, and then you're going to follow. Your Sherpa will get you to your next station. So you're all guided. Folks haven't had enough coffee yet, don't worry, we will get you where you need to go.
Thank God.
So this map that's on the screen is also in your folder. There should be enough folders for everyone at your table, on your table. If you do not have a folder, can you raise your hand so we make sure you get one before you walk out of here?
In the fall, out in the deep mud, you can fish a 25-pot trawl, because you're out in almost what's a field of mud, and that's where the lobsters are. And it doesn't matter how long the trawls are, you'll still be on the lobsters and catching them. So it's all about productivity. There's so many variables that go into what a good lobsterman is able to catch, from the way the heads are laid in the trap to how the trap is weighted. It has to be weighted enough that when it's on the bottom of the ocean, it doesn't move, because those antennas on the lobster, they'll come up to that trap and they'll feel that trap. And if that trap moves, they won't go in it, because they're very skittish. You have to make sure that trap is weighted so that trap does not move. And those heads have to be laid in the trap just right. A nice entry, because if it's too steep, the lobsters won't go up it. If it's too shallow and on the bottom, after they feed, they'll get right out of it. And you know, you just don't put a trap in the ocean, any lobster trap, and think a clambake is going to appear. That doesn't happen. There's a lot of work into catching, being a good lobsterman.
How many hours are you out a day?
It depends on how hard you want to work at it. You can be out for 6 hours. You can be out for 16. It just depends on and that's one of the great things about it. Nobody's telling me how long I can spend out there.
How do you know where to go? Do you have a territory? How do you negotiate
We
that
don't
with
really,
other lobstermen?
We don't really have a territory. We're not, the stories of machine guns on the bow and,
That's right. But how to pose a question.
All right, so it was probably like 5 or 6 years before that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm glad to do it. There's some pretty cool stuff here.
Yeah, in fact, there's a really cool survival we found.
question, or here's my idea, with a little bit of feedback. And Liza, this
Hi,
is
Sharks.
Kelly.
Hi, Kelly. Nice to meet you.
Jeff,
Hi, Jeff.
a page that we have describing their bios, but we're going to let them speak for themselves, and we'll give Jeff the first opportunity to introduce himself, because as I said, I have to apologize for not getting his logo up there. And here is, it's not on the paper, but it is right here, Phoenix Revolution. Go ahead, Jeff.
I don't care. Hi everyone, I'm Jeff Chapin. I helped found Phoenix Revolution, which is a company based in Quincy that purifies effluent water and salt water and industrial wastewater at about 1/3 the cost, half the capital cost, and about 60 to 70% less energy. So we're deployed in India and Vietnam and cleaning up nasty fracking oil and stuff like that, fracking water. So thanks for having
And I'm Kelly Lynch, the owner of Balance Studio. Not quite as a noble endeavor as
way more.
Phoenix. You're really healthy. But I'm going to keep Cohasset healthy, flexible, and de-stressed.
My name is Brian McLaughlin. I own Seabird Coffee Company in Cohasset. I just keep you all awake during the day. That's it.
Hi, I'm Cindy Duty. I own Body Blueprint in Cohasset right on 3A. We just opened in September, but I've been in Cohasset for quite some time. I used to be Kelly's neighbor at Balance Studio with Mariposa Massage. So we're massage therapy, acupuncture, nutrition, and a couple other great things. So thank you. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. I'm Susan Franklin. I own the Dell's Lemonade, and if you don't know me, your kids know me for sure. I've been running Dell since 2008. I had a career in corporate finance before that, and I'm really looking forward to everything you guys tell us about.
Thank you.
So when teams are up here, I'm going to be keeping time for you. You'll get the very nice 1-minute warning. Then you'll get the like wrap it up crook kind of thing will happen after that. Just because we want to make sure each team has a reasonable time to present. And we really appreciate the Sharks' time today, and we don't want to like run crazy over with their generous time they've taken away from their industry. Any questions? All right, I'm going to check my email and see who's going first. Just you? Who's the rest of your team? Let's go!
You'll see what Quest means in just a little bit, but one of our themes here is we have a consultant that's going to work full-time to design experiences for all of the people who we're targeting, basically. So it's a consultant-based eco-team building and family eco-tourism business. It's ecologically responsible family or corporate experiences with a purpose. So, bold, but that's what we're going for. Step 1. Purchase the Oaks Resort, if you could call it that, for about, I think it's going for $17.5 million in Cohasset right on the harbor. How are we doing this? Corporate sponsor question mark. So we're thinking about, does the town have an interest in the property? We think they will, and we're going to try to target why that is in just a bit. But step 1 is purchasing this property. Step 2 is going to be converting this property into a green eco-paradise. So our lovely group has come up with a number of ideas, including, controversial, yes, but converting the lawn to butterfly and rain gardens. But why? We're looking at an ecological perspective. So grass looks nice, but we're concerned about fertilizer runoff into the harbor and the rivers and local watershed. So if we can convert that to gardens that have sustainable food, habitats for organisms like the local monarch butterfly, that would be great. A native vegetable garden is going to be used to help provide food for the people who stay at this resort. It's going to be solar powered, zero waste, it's going to use local food and compost. The grounds will be open to the public, so that's why the town should have an interest in this property. And there's also going to be opportunities for local practitioners to teach yoga classes or offer acupuncture classes. So a few of the ideas our group had was our consultant's going to work to tailor this experience to whoever the group is, whether it's a family or a corporate interest, to rent out the whole property. So there's going to be multiple rooms that are right now bedrooms. They'll be converted to different places for properties or businesses or smaller groups to go. We could have school groups. The family groups will be in the summer only, so the calendar will be a bit dynamic, but we're going to block it off. The summer is going to be just for families to plan the perfect quest options, including kayaking, biking, walking tours, bird watching, botanical groups that look at invasive plant species, how the environment affects lobstering, geological applications, looking at just the history of Cohasset in the local area. You could go on a lobster boat tour or eco boat tour, and we can also look at the effects of rising oceans. So one example of the effects of rising oceans is, if I look at a map or a diagram that says, oh, this is what the ocean's going to look like in 2050 or 2100, that's one thing. If I look at flags or markers on the actual land, this is what it's going to look like on the actual land. If you go to the next slide, I can get pictures of those, thank you. This is one thing. If I flag up, oh, the ocean's going to be way out where the back camera is, that's going to put it in my perspective, especially at a young age, that's why I care. Another important thing, I know I'm short on time, is going to be getting rid of invasive plant species. So there's going to be a work component to this trip. Move on, please. Geology, we could look at geology. We could look at organic farming. We could look at kayaking, biking, walking, very green. And bring on the tourists. So the group will stay at the resort, but they'll also be exploring the town, shopping and dining when not busy questing.
Oh, yeah.
Local community partners that we could work with, but we're always interested in more. Thank you.
All right. Sharks, we'll kick off with you. Any feedback for the Cunningham Rip questing team?
I love the idea. I love the idea that a state is sitting there. I mean, it's beautiful, but it's not servicing the town. And I love the idea of corporate sponsorships. Get people in here that'll help offset the costs. I think it'd be a win-win for the town. And I will buck up Balance Studio right now to go in there and manage all of that mind-body wellness.
Everybody heard that.
It's being recorded,
I'm going to use the I wish, because I wish we would actually do this. I showed the judge, I have 5 workbooks on how we might fractionalize it up and create a resort and what activities you can do in financials. So it's just so funny that this is the same thing that I was thinking about doing this for a couple of years. Never came together, but
And we did 2 hours. We got it done in 2 hours.
This is my problem. I'm really slow.
We were using a different business model.
So I think this is an incredible idea, and I love the fact that it's open to the public and that you can do all these eco things. So I wish this group would maybe pick it up with a group that wants to do this. Nice job.
Yeah. Awesome. Over here.
Yeah, I really like the idea that you're bringing also kids with families involved in it and just teaching the youth and putting this together. A deep ranch by the sea.
I'm going to open it up to the whole room, and I'm going to kick off by saying I am really excited. I love, not I like, that the first one went big and bold. Go big or go home, right? Like, don't be limited. That was not a no, but we can't. It was like, we're buying the Oaks, right? Tesla's gonna help us, and we're buying the Oaks. So I love that, and that's what you really need with brainstorming, right? Because we have so many environments where we shut down brainstorming before it even happens. So I love that you guys went for it. I wish, ideas or suggestions from the room.
I wish they didn't go first.
I like what we did.
Town business perspective, I think that's what makes it such a successful idea, besides converting that beautiful property to something that the town can use. But being a small business owner, I think it would actually draw quite a bit of people into that downtown area. That would be for day trip type stuff, which is something that lacks right now during the daytime of downtown Cohasset. So I think I would be extremely excited to have something like that come down, because I also think it's a great walking traffic. And then it's so close to the downtown area that it would really benefit all the businesses along there. So I think it's brilliant. It's a very destination.
Yeah, great. How about other folks?
I like the fact that it addresses what I understand at least to be a problem, which is that Cohasset does not have a lot of beds in hotels and inns. And so, instead of thinking around the problem of how do we have ecotourism and not have the beds to sustain every kind of ecotourism we could, I like the approach of solving that problem. A root problem, that's cool.
Okay. In the back.
If you could add Jeff Bezos to your list.
Great. I see Jeff Bezos. Yep.
I like that we can arrive by car or by boat.
Nice.
Incentivize them. Work on logistics.
Any final feedback?
I liked your service component and the invasive species, because I think that's an understudied issue in town, maybe, and that part about having the flags for students so they can actually envision where the ocean would be. I love that kind of thing where you put students in a position and they can go, oh my gosh, I'd be standing in 3 feet of water, that sort of thing.
Well, it spawned from on the first station with the title. There's black swallow right there, so that kind of helped spawn the idea. Oh, there's a problem here. Right. So this is black swallowwort. It's a an invasive, non-native, and monarch butterflies will deposit their eggs there, and then it kills them because they confuse it with a milkweed. So it's one of the worse.
The Phragmite and taking over, I would watch it in Holly Hill Farm, taking over their fields, which is becoming an issue coming into our yard, and also the mustard garlic that kills all your other normal plants.
Plenty of eco projects.
Oh yeah, there's tons of them, so I like that a lot.
All right, thanks to the Cunningham Rip team.
It's like the name of the area.
Yeah.
I thought you
All
were.
right, Rob, you need to
So we took a little more practical approach because we think flexibility and ease spells participation. So what we came up with is a concept for build your own ecotourism vacations right here in Cohasset Harbor, historic Cohasset Harbor. So,
sorry, hold please.
please. So our learning goal for our opportunity was to explore and experience the delicate balance between economy and ecology in the working coastal community of Cohasset. So there's really a lot of things going on here. It's a working harbor, and there's kind of a delicate balance between residential activity and commercial activity with lobster boats and things. So we were trying to provide some options to be able to explore all the different activities available in the harbor. So here's here's the beautiful Cohasset Harbor, and in an effort to take advantage of most everything that would be out here, we came up with 5 different options for families to be able to kind of pick and choose and create their own vacation. So we've got kayak tours, history tours, trash and treasures. So in terms of ecology, there's a lot of awareness that we can drive with some of the trash that lands in the harbor, and how can we take that trash and maybe at the end you make jewelry out of it or a keychain. But and then lobstering the lighthouse. So some of the things we heard today. So the next slide, I'm going to turn it over to Jim. And Jim's going to take us through some of the options.
We were particularly struck when we were down at the lighthouse and we saw kids riding in with their life preservers on to do sailing camp. We saw people running by, and then we just got off the lobster boat. So we saw all these different sort of purposes coming together. So the goal was to aim this towards people who maybe don't live on the coast, know nothing about what it's like to live on the coast, and give them a chance, a real experiential learning, maybe to just build a little appreciation for what it likes to live on coastal communities. So we've got kayak to Cohasset Coast Harbor, trash to treasure, lobstering for a day, Cohasset history tours, Lightkeeper. We would recruit college-age local Sherpas to usher families around to more local experts who would actually run the thing. So we would have, for example, experts like Jack Buckley take groups out and kayaking tours and tell them all the stories. Lobstering for a day. We got our card when we were getting off Billy Oliver's boat. He said, "Anytime for free, come on out with us." So we're going to sign him up and maybe pay him a little bit on the side. Set up, and we would all. These would be sort of like the big rock activities, and then we would sort of couch around those different things like, sunrise yoga on the beach, or we'd enlist the South Shore Arts Center to come in and run like little painting evening and morning exercise. We even talked about doing like an overnight camp out where they had to be like the light keepers and keep the light on all night, and we would have the campfire, and we would take them clam digging in Situate, and then they could come and cook them on the beach and stay over and keep the light on all night. Next one. So this would be our sort of our advertising pitch. Pick which days you want, what your half-day activities are going to be, learn about local businesses from local people, overnight options, and then we would reach out to area hotels and try to block off rooms in advance, and maybe even get homestays for those who really wanted the most authentic of the coastal living experience. And then the other thing we were going to start is a little mini business on the side, which will help us, which is the next one, which is our Loopster, which is going to be like it's going to be like a Uber, Lyft, Boston Harbor kind of thing. If we can get around the ferry unions, we're going to try to work in there and try to see if we can't get some like Uber, Lyft boats trucking around the harbor from Situate and Session. Yeah. So we had two ideas and we had to put them together. Maybe, but we'll worry about that later.
Sure.
I have a question.
Brian's got a question.
I think I read, did it say 2 weeks in August is when the tours go on?
Yeah, so they run, we run these every day, the same 5 tours or the same set of tours every day, and then you can pick, I can be there Wednesday, Thursday with the family, or a weekend, and then you don't miss out on anything. So it's really designed to be the most flexible, to be able to pick what days a family could vacation.
In those 2 weeks, though?
Within that 2-week stretch.
Right. Do you think, as a question, do you think that limits the tourism to a very shallow period of time in the year?
Yeah, probably the devil's in the detail. And when we were thinking about how you man it and staff it, could we get better participation in that 2-week stretch, and then maybe create some things outside of that as return trips or other things to do. And maybe we have some semblance that goes on through the summer. But initially, just the educational eco tours. We just had some questions about how we'd staff it throughout the whole summer.
There's also a concern of what, part of Cohasset's charm is that it's not a big tourism place, so you wouldn't want to, I don't know that it's something you'd want to make all summer. So the idea was to start small.
But I have a question, adding to Brian's, if you did the prior project, why wouldn't all of these things be activities you can do while you stay at the resort?
Oh, they absolutely would be.
That would be
So if they bought the Oaks and beat us to it, we would have to change our business model, and so we would all of a sudden be the company.
But then you could do it. I mean,
we would be the company who puts those pamphlets in the hotel lobbies when you go down. All of our little mini tours and Easter pamphlets would be in the Oaks lobby.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with that either, though. I think that actually, those little businesses actually make their living off of stuff like that, and I think that actually would be successful.
In general, the idea is just to connect people from out of town to local experts who then help them model their vacations.
So, if I'm not incorrect, did you say you would run all 5 tours every single day within that 2-week period?
If the demand was there, the idea would be that you'd run all 5 each day. That way, you could, if you were here for a week straight, you could do each one.
So, could you also maybe pick 2 a day, spread out the calendar? So we just did an Island Creek oyster tour. It took me a year to get a date. A year. I finally got the email in April, the day it came out, and there were 4 spots left on the day I wanted to go. So it's crazy. People are looking for those type of activities. So I think it's an awesome idea, and it might have to build up some momentum, but it would be a great way to kind of put it out there. Then you have time to staff your activities throughout the course of a couple of months.
Without buying the Oaks
without buying
We would need months ahead of time just to block off the rooms. So we would have to block this. We would have to block off rooms in neighborhood, like whether we got like 3 or 4 area hotels. We probably have to block this off. We're talking about 6 to 8, 10 months in advance just to get the rooms.
Or perhaps the Cohasset Harbor Inn would actually turn into a
Or we'll just put them all up in the high school in the summer and those unused spaces just.
The fact that they're half-day tours, people would drive 2 hours for a half-day tour. I mean, that covers a lot of.
And if you come from, if you come from inland and you know nothing about the coast and you want to come out here and you say, I've always wanted to go clam digging, well, here you go. We've got a guide who's going to take you out, show you how it all works. Same thing with the lobstering, and the idea was to give them a genuine, I think you said it best, was like, you want to make connections with real people.
Right.
And understand who coastal people are.
Fellowship, kind of.
And there's a who said exchange program?
Yeah, the homestay.
Homestay exchange program idea where you're marketing to people who know nothing about what it's like to live on the coast, and you're giving them an actual human connection with someone who lives on the coast, rather than, the beach resort where they go down the beach every day and they go back to the hotel and they never really learn anything about what it's like to live on
Yeah, so similar to even like dine around. So
dine around.
Yeah,
Right.
so people would either, they don't have to spend the night at someone's home, but they would be invited to have dinner at someone's home. And then, like the Billy Oliver, you could see the generations of lobster, lobster.
Dine around and maybe even institutionalize it a little bit, but have lobstermen and family members at each evening event, and maybe bring in the lobster plant as part of that dining activity that you could add if you were going to stay.
Jack, in your retirement, if you could find a way to start a harbor Uber Lyft service, that would be
I gotta be the time master on this because I want to make sure we get time over here.
I mean, honestly, there's very little barriers to entry for what you guys are talking about compared to the other group. I love the idea. I love the idea, but you guys have.
Thank you for articulating that.
We don't all have.
That if you could get yourselves up and running, then you would be a huge benefit to this group if they were.
Maybe we could become one of your corporate sponsors.
Exactly. All right, well, all I want to know, Rocky Beach, is the Loopster going to pick me up at the commuter train? I think seriously.
It will pick you up at the Hull Ferry.
Okay. All right, thanks to Rocky Beach. All right, you ready? Gulf River.
Hi. So just to kind of set up, so today is my first day in Cohasset. I live in the Boston area. And the first thing that struck me was coming here, I was like, I gotta get out of Boston more. There's green space, there's access to the water, it's natural, it's not just like manicured parks. And so that kind of became our inspiration for today, because we wanted to kind of target city dwellers and bring people to the coast and really be immersed in learning about how the natural environment and the local environment supports us and the benefits that we get from it. So that was our theming, that's our learning goal.
Okay, so the idea is that you take the Green Bush line down and you get shuttled over TBD. Basically, you can customize your experience for the day, but everything culminates in a lobster dinner here by a local chef after you go out on a lobster boat and catch your own lobsters. And but designed so that you come through the village, get your coffee at Seabird.
I love the idea.
Or your Bell's lemonade. Bell's lemonade, maybe a little bit later in the day. You get your paddle boards at OSI in town. You rent your bikes there perhaps. And you can choose among 3 different excursions, and they were, just as a reminder.
Go to the next one.
Okay.
So we're kind of framing this as we're a kind of like another kind of like ecotourism company where we offer you these packages. We've got 3 to start with, and we did have a lot more ideas, but it's kind of like if these 3 start, and we're thinking about maybe starting it like once a month in the summer, and then as it picks up, we can add, because having the lobster dinner kind of is we need the space every day or every weekend and stuff like that. So.
And one of the things that Cohasset lacks is a little pizzazz, a little styling, a little lifestyle in its advertisements. So, you know, in some of the photos, we want to have great shots of food and fashion and really cool people on their boards. And, just bring things a little more up to date. This idea of bringing people from the train station down through the village into the harbor coincides perfectly with the goals of the Harbor Committee right now as it comes up with its master plan to redesign the harbor, which I encourage everyone to get involved with that plan because it's really exciting. And also the town master plan, which is to, you know, unite the village and the harbor once again back to their original state, where this was really a center of commerce, where there was a lot of vitality. And so we're hoping that this will draw people who don't usually spend time here from the city and basically do the things that are here anyway, but just repackage it and make it something.
Yeah, so the second item, or the second kind of package we had was maybe more like do-it-yourself walking tour. There could be an app. You can like identify the different plants and species. Are they native? Are they non-native? Are they food? Like, can you eat them? And then you could up that with a guide. Our third itinerary was kind of more active, like be on the water if you want to be on a paddleboard or kayak. Again, we could like going back on like the local experts. Like we thought it'd be great if we could have students doing tours that are telling us about local ecology and history, kind of trained by everyone else in the town. And then we wanted everything to end with a local sustainable meal here. So local lobster, bring in the
bring in polyfill, so it'll be a sea and farm to table experience, and feature bring back Cohasset Punch, which was invented. Joy, you're going to help me somewhere around in Chicago. Invented in Chicago. No. It actually started here across from the Yacht Club.
Yeah.
It's a drink that was named by some performers that used to come through town. It was made with canned peaches, which I know we could like update that a little bit, but anyway. It then got its fame in Chicago. There was a restaurant called Cohasset Punch. That kind of disappeared. It got trademarked. That's gone now. But this, of course, would all coincide with the Cohasset 250 event. We could do this all summer long, and make it fun.
Awesome. Thank you. Sharks, any thoughts?
I mean, we might hear this from other groups too, but I think the idea of focusing on the lobster industry is a big thing for Cohasset. I think you see towns like Duxbury have done a great job of really beautifying an industry that's actually really difficult to do. So oyster farming and stuff like that has its benefits to the actual harbors and stuff, but those towns have really embraced it and kind of made it a sexy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I think people in their mind imagine oysters as a delicacy of being such a sexy lifestyle as lobster, although it's extremely, arduous work, and these lobstermen go out and they're working their butts off all day to do this. If we can draw tourism to that, I think that's one, great for the town, it's great for the lobstermen themselves, but also putting the tagline Cohasset Lobsters could become something that goes even national beyond. Like you see Maine lobster, and you see PEI mussels and Duxbury oysters. Why not draw attention to what these lobstermen are doing in our own town, just to draw more people's attention to that? I think that's actually, of what you're discussing here, I think that is my takeaway of being something that could be pretty important. I think I'd like to see that.
I think when people think of lobsters here, they think of a boiled lobster. So we want to reinvent it and show pictures of grilled lobsters and Thai spices and just everything lobster.
Other sharks?
You could actually, along with Susan was saying, you could make maybe a self-guided tour on some of those things, to give people the option if they wanted to come down early and do some of these things, and connect them with the local businesses, like an OSI or, some of the other things that you could do in town. But farm-to-table dinners are so huge, And it's a nice way to tie in the Lobsterman, Holly Hill, and some of the local eateries in town. It would be a great revenue boon to them to come in, and you give them a certain couple days a week, or you guys are on Tuesday, Thursday, you're on Saturday, Sunday, whatever it is. I think finding the spot to hold them on an ongoing basis could be interesting. There's a phenomenal farm-to-table place in Clinton, Mass.
Just right.
Fabulous,
So good.
fabulous.
So good.
And it's a local farm, and they procure all these locally produced meats and fishes and what have you. But they built a screen porch that is gorgeous, that accommodates 30 people. If we could find the land someplace in town to build an accommodation like that, so you had a place to house it.
I heard the Oaks is available.
Why are you doing this?
Can't we build like a gazebo?
But I think that could be the whole pull. And the idea of branding is fabulous, but that could be the draw to get people down into town.
I don't know about other things, but honestly, you're saying you want to get this posh experience. And most of the posh table things I've gone to, people dress up. They don't want to like roll up apple and
Yeah. Nobody's branded a town that I know of as all contributing to one farm to table effort, right? But here you could do it with Holly Hill and Whitman Lobster and such. You could make a whole Cohasset farm to table.
Be a good PR.
And quite honestly, what's not here might, if it really thrived, grow up. If you don't have your own cheese, maybe that's, we were talking down on the water that there is apparently no local brewery, but microbreweries are a big thing. That would be huge to bring in.
You got one Untold in Situate.
Actually, Cohasset grads opened up one in Marshfield, Stellwagen Brewery. Both of the Snowdale family, they built one.
We're actually also looking at the potential with using the train line and getting people who live in the city down here without cars and reaching out to realtors, to the local high schools, to whoever might be stakeholders and having other people relocate and sort of, sowing the seeds for that.
I have another comment on that too. I think with the problem that we have in the downtown area for parking and stuff,
right,
using the actual train station and perhaps even high school if there's runoff, with having a shuttle that brings people from there to the downtown is a great idea. It would eliminate a lot of the traffic problems that we have, especially going down that Main Street area. So I think that's a great idea.
So I just
you could provide coffees on the train.
I would provide coffee to everyone.
I was going to say, there was just an article in the Globe like 2 weeks ago, and it was all places you can go, if you're in Boston without a car, where can you go for dinner? And it told you other places in Cohasset was not on it. So it seems like a big opportunity for all of you. Thanks so much, Gulf River.
So maybe it was because we started this before lunch, or maybe it's because the way someone's heart and brain is through their stomach. But the whole group immediately came up with food is our way in. The engagement is food. And so this idea of coastal cuisine, our business is called Coastal Cuisine, a Cohasset culinary excursion. For anything about food, we need a menu. So there's a menu of options to be engaged with. There would be a 2-hour tasting of an appetizer. It's for kids, right? So they would come in, whether it's a school group or during the week or an after-school group or just any group of people that wants to do. And this would be, they would rotate among some of the local areas here in the harbor. And have one course and then move to another setting, learn and see that other place, see another course and learn to a sort of a third place. For the adults, we'd have a dinner with wine and beer from the local places. And again, moving from location to location, places that we saw, the Riverson Falls or the harbor or the salt marsh. And then we really want to increase the support for conservation, and so we would have an extravaganza occasionally for rich donors that would learn more about conservation, about where the food comes from and where the waste goes, and that would be sort of more, and we would potentially have a longer excursion involved in a lot of the stuff, gathering the food from the various places, and then Lisa will talk about a la carte next to this. So our next slide is, go to the next slide, is the learning objectives. It's really about sustainability. It's not just farm to table, but where does it really come from? and how much resources does it take to supply that food, and then where does it go? And so at the end of the meal, we would be very clearly pushing the places to compost or the recycling or the whatever. And we wouldn't be heavy-handed with the education, but it would just be part of the general deal. And there would be resources like students that have been involved in gathering food from Holly Hill Farm or been out on the lobster boat to be able to explain that experience a little bit more. So then we could go back one. And so Lisa's going to pick it up from here.
Okay, so what we really want to focus on is place-based eating. So where does your food come from and why does that matter? So some of the ideas we had were the herring at Reversing Falls, salad from Holly Hill Farms, lobsters on the dock, clams from the salt marsh. And so it gives our customers the opportunity to learn about the location and the setting and to learn from students. Can you skip ahead to please? So then we have our excursions, and these I think would be really, we all think would be really interesting. So we could do sunset yoga on the beach or in that really pretty sailing center, mindful hikes, clear bottom kayaking tours around the harbor, paddleboarding, and of course massage from local partners. And then we got really into a group is the coastal cook-off. So it would be a little bit of a competition where teams compete to make a dinner. Kids, adults, and chefs. So it would be team building. You'd have to gather your local produce and find your food and use the local products and then cook it. And see who won. And it could be films. So we had some ideas for partners. We thought the fifth generation lobsterman, Billy Oliver and his family, Holly Hill Farm, Seabird Coffee, Dallas Studio, Dallas Lemonade.
Phoenix Revolution anywhere? It's the worst idea.
So we did a lot of research on local breweries and local wineries, and we're surprised to find that there were quite a few in the area actually, including Untold and Entitled. And so we were thinking, you know, we need some beach plum wine too to make use of this product. And we think that's all we have.
We know a revolution thanks to this team. Sharks, any thoughts for this team? Any feedback?
Where is this dinner being held?
It would be outdoors at 3 or 4 locations locally in the harbor. So we would set up a tent or set up tables and then move for each course. Progressive dinner, move for each course.
Kind of office style, small plates.
And how many people do you anticipate it could accommodate each?
20 to 25 for seating, but you could potentially progress and then move the next seating in.
Would you walk to that next location?
Yes, it's all within a very quick walk as we found out this morning.
Or partner with the Loops? No, the Loops.
We spent the majority of our time, I think, focusing on that excursion piece in particular, which is essentially like agro-tourism. So bringing people in, people that want to be involved in the process of harvesting the food that are similar to the last group, going out on the boats with the lobstermen, partnering with Holly Hill so that you're going in, you're weeding or you're helping gather, you're seeing the composting system, and then this would culminate in partaking in the food that you helped to create at the conclusion of the experience.
It's a very interesting idea. I love the concept of it. Logistically, I'd wonder if, kind of what Susan was saying beforehand, if someone's out there like weeding in Holly Hill and picking up clams and what have you, how are we going to get them cleaned up to
So
then?
this would be the a la carte. That would be the optional pre-dinner type activity, but the basic dinner is a very set. You can come in and do it without having to do any of that stuff.
Cool. I mean, I think we have so many food resources around here, and food is such a huge gathering point and such a great educational opportunity. It makes sense to take advantage of what is around and bring people down here for that reason.
I do agree with that. I mean, I think anytime you share food with other people, it's, obviously we all have to eat, and it's an opportunity to share in something, get an experience. So I do like the experiential part of that. I think there are some hiccups too, perhaps with just how to get people down here for that experience. But I really do like the idea. I think food in general is a great way to bring people to something.
The other way to bring it in without having to get dirty is bring in the kids that have done it
Yeah.
So the kids can come in, they are there. So when you present the food, they say, this is the tomato that came from, and I picked it, and I did this, and then share that experience. And kids are great educators of adults. So adults will listen to kids, but they won't listen to other adults. So, interesting twist.
Back here?
I really liked the cook-off idea and filming it with the community television. I don't know if you guys did, but I really liked that concept. I think that would be super cool. Family contest, family cooking contest. They could be running around all day gathering.
Oh, sorry, Jack.
I like place-based eating. I like that phrase. I like the concept.
As a phrase?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a phrase, right. That was the first time I've ever heard that, and I thought, yeah, PV.
I like that you're the first group to come talk about breweries, but you know, barbaric towns like Weymouth and Marshfield and Situate have breweries. You're the first one to say we should have a winery in Cohasset.
Speaking from a barbaric time, great and around the food, creating a buzz type thing. I've never seen so much of a buzz at Situate Heritage Days. The biggest thing there is the oyster shucking contest and different restaurants participating in that, and it's such a huge draw. So I mean, incorporating some sort of like restaurant competition, local restaurant competition into this day might be, or dinner might be interesting.
Or at least like a best of.
Yeah.
Right? People love the best of lists. Other feedback from the room. I'm just going to throw out, because this come from a couple groups, I feel like solving that, where if someone comes for the day, can they do the messy stuff, get cleaned up, and go to the nice dinner? Solving that problem answers like
And that's
several.
the next group up.
Okay, that's the next group, right?
Cohasset High School showers.
That's our local kayak guy, right?
Shady character.
I really like the aspect of focusing on the waste, because that's the one thing, even at like all of the farm to table stuff that I've seen, is like you never really think about like
Farm to table to back to.
Yeah, but I think that's really important. I think that's something that like when I started doing a lot of sustainability teaching this summer, and like when you talk about that, you have to kind of emphasize that whole cycle, and I like that was included because I think it's not talked about enough.
During dinner, we would have lots of visuals of the wastewater treatment. And so.
Back in.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for getting me in there.
Last thing I think you were lobbying to go, yes? Or Bailey's?
Oh, wait. What's going on? Hi. Why not jump on a bike?
Or paddle in.
Or to your hiking shoes.
See and explore Cohasset's natural and historical gems
while supporting local vendors.
So See Cohasset Seashore and Tour, Sea and Shore Tour is a half-day active tour that incorporates the history behind Cohasset while getting active with two main activities throughout the day.
So, and you're going to start your wonderful day in the morning by registering with coffee from
Brilliant idea.
Introduction to local history, and then either bring your own bike or we'll have bikes to rent, and you head over to Government Island where you get your first excursion on the sea, and you have a choice of kayak or lobster boat where you get to learn more about the history and culture and environment of the sea here in Cohasset. After an hour and a half experience there, get back on your bikes for the transition for the landlubbers excursion, where you'll have choices to learn more about inland, what's happened here in terms of history and culture, and different natural resources that are available, where you can go to either Holly Hill Farm, Wheelwright Park, or Sandy Beach. And then that leads us to our afternoon activities.
Sorry.
Wait, go back. Oh, so you have a chance to bike back to the Common, where you'll be met by a representative from the Cohasset Historical Society. We'll give you a brief explanation of some important historical buildings and facts about the town,
and then all participants will be given a map with highlighting some local places that they can tour on their own, as well as some coupons for dining at local eateries. And that's it.
Yeah, so as was mentioned, every participant will get a map that'll include not only the places we visited, but other places in town, eateries that have sustainable practices, small town businesses, a lot of historic sites as well, because we want to incorporate that into this tour. Our predicted cost will be $50 if you were bringing your own bike, $75 if you were renting one as well.
And so one of our goals is, I heard the expression happy, healthy, active, and we're certainly trying to work that in. We're also talking about hopped up on caffeine and hydrating with lemonade, of course, but moving, inspiring walking traffic in town, as well as that farm to table idea. So our ending participant will have identified and supported local and sustainable sources while actively engaging with Cohasset's cultural and natural history.
And our goal is to customize this and get as many local partners involved as possible. Anybody could be on the map if they can identify one healthy or sustainable practice that they have in their business or in their institution, something that they bring back to the community, so we can be as inclusive as possible. And we customize these tours. If not everybody can bike, we do some kind of electric trolley, and so we could have groups come to us and customize other tours. But this would be a regular tour with some regularly scheduled options, maybe once a week to start, and then customizable tours at other times. So please join us, businesses. Electronic and paper maps.
Thank you, Coach A, for the prop.
Yes.
Yes. Great, thank you. Sharks, who wants to be on the map? Everybody?
Why wouldn't I? Yeah, it's a great way. It's a nice way to break down the day and give people lots of options. So how would you do them? Just out of curiosity, the vouchers for lunch and what have you. So if they're bringing their own bike and they're paying $50, what would their lunch voucher be?
We discussed either percentage off or like a free appetizer or a dollar amount. Haven't worked out those things.
Just curious.
Yes.
But they'd have a kayak or a paddleboard, potentially a yoga session. So even if they're bringing their own bike, there would still be other vehicles, tour guide, local history. So.
And it wasn't mentioned, but when they come back from the kayak or lobsterman, there would be some type of snack provided, like a midday snack.
Get their energy back up before we get on the bikes and head across town.
Yeah.
And we had originally talked about, we did not talk about actually purchasing the hotel over there, but we said we would love to work with the hotels if they were if they were operational again, that we would be selling our services, of course, through you all. So.
Nice.
Conveniently enough, Loopster's just expanded and added a child-powered rickshaw division. Helmets, and they'll all have helmets and vests so they can stay local.
Other feedback from the room? Back there.
Yeah, I was just going to say there's something about this presentation that's really refreshing about the bikes and the kayaks, and I really like how they tied the inland.
Yeah, we really wanted to tie in the fact that before any settlers showed up here, right, there were Native people living, and they used both the harbor and the inland and migrated between the two areas depending on the season, and so they should both be included in any consideration of the town as a whole.
I heard the prior group speak about the mission to unite village and harbor, and I'm guessing that individual leader got it from just having local knowledge or maybe some of the links that you sent out, and I want to know more about that. I don't want to take your time up on it, but it's interesting. Where did that come from?
Well, currently there's a master plan for the town underway, but there's also a harbor plan underway, and there's actually, the next meeting is here.
And we want you all to come because obviously you all are amazing.
Yeah, and one of the goals of the plan is to hopefully reunite the village.
That was
reunite the village and the harbor. And in one way of doing that is to really bring more vitality to the harbor and more business to the harbor. Right now, it's really dead because the businesses are shut down, and there is a developer who has a purchase and sales agreement and needs approval from the town to change the zoning up. So there's a lot of stuff potentially in the works for a lot of these ideas to come into fruition. But it's really important that everybody make it known what they want from this, so that it doesn't just turn into all condos on the harbor.
So let's, can I make a suggestion? Because
yeah.
I think CSCR is going to send an email following this. We should have said that. They're making sure you all can connect with each other. But let's make sure we have links about that next meeting and the plan in that email. Susan's writing that down.
Quick closing statement. Props that you're the first that really took that uniting of the village and the harbor and just instantiated it. That was really cool.
We have a native here, thank goodness.
Yes.
Who recently read all the new plaques down on the.
One last little add-on that we forgot to mention is that our original plan was to have it on Thursday, so that you end at 1, you go and have lunch, and then the farmers markets 2 to 6 during the summer. That way you kind of get more of a feel of what Cohasset is.
And we would be able to feature, this is sort of the framework, so we could feature, like, let's say there's a class that is happening at the yoga studio or wherever. You would feature something every single Thursday and like put it out like almost like menu of the day. And there's a band. Right.
I was going to say, is there a band shell in town?
Yeah, and the painting, you said you'd like to go painting, so maybe there's a painting of real right.
Just gone to
Okay.
Not a painter.
All right, thank you, team.
Alright, so the Cohasset Coastal Experience is supposed to be a build your own type of an adventure. Basically, it incorporates, go to the next slide, please. It could start anywhere in the local area. You're going to have, again, next slide, please. The mission here is to build and foster appreciation and knowledge of Cohasset's historical and natural resources, both on the land and in the city. Next slide, please. So you have a choice. You can either do like Paul Revere, 1 by land, 2 by sea, and you're going to build your own and cater your own experience. One, you're going to be able to you're going to look at the various farms in the area. Holly Hill Farm, we can travel you. We could with electric boosters, basically. We might partner up with them. Electric golf carts, shuttle them over to Weir Farm, where you could learn about the meat raising cattle, Poinster Farm in Norwell for the dairy production. So you're going to be able to access the various components of farming industry in the South Shore area, but centered around Cohasset. Package A is going to be a historical tour, if you so desire. It could be self-guided, or you could have a appointed guide to take you on this, in which you're going to look at the architectural contributions that Cohasset has to offer, the boat building history here, and look at the various techniques that were used historically as well as in the modern day, and any cultural and artistic components that you have with regards to the South Shore Music Circus. You might have access to the dramatic theater down in where they host the plays in the town hall. Is it the town hall? Package B deals with local coastal farming experience. Again, the 3 farms that you're going to be able to hit with and learn about the various components of agricultural history and modern day application of these in your experience. You could package up A and B, or you could do just A, just B. It's going to be whatever you want to do, very flexible. It's going to be something that's accessible year-round, not just in the summertime. It's something that I think offers a lot of variety for a lot of people from around the area and outside of the area. But you'll be able to go into, this I think is at Holly Hill Farm. You go to the next slide. Oh, that was Weir River, I'm sorry. Yep. And then you've got, this is Leinster. And you could also do now by sea. You've got the other packages that come out to play. Keep going. So you got package C. You could get the working harbor experience, which deals with, again, some boat building. Look at some practical applications here. You might go out on a lobstering. You might look at some shellfishing. You definitely could talk about the historical architectural components of the lighthouse and the building of the lighthouse. Take a tour out and around the modern day Minus Light. See where all that history took place. Learn about it here and so forth. They're not all educational, but they're all going to be very informative and I think interesting for a diverse number of individuals. Package D, Package D is going to be about the ecological experience. This is going to allow you to look at Cohasset's harbor coastline, marshes, etc., from both on land. You can do this in the wintertime when the seas aren't accessible, so you can do it either by water or on land. As we move forward, we're going to have access to the various aspects of it, and if it continues to build, we're going to eventually offer up shark diving. So we'll be able to take you out on a lobster boat, put the cage in the water. So it's not just about lobsters, right? We want to get the kids want action. It's Shark Week after all, right?
Ducks and youngsters, Cohasset Sharks.
Right. Exactly. But all of this is going to be presented, researched and built by the kids at Cohasset High School. CCSCR can build the shark cages. They'll be able to put their GoPros that we use for the eelgrass project. When I was using that back in the day, we can use that. So everything's going to be designed by the students and the faculty and the community members. They're going to be able to wake up in the morning, when they get into town, take a yoga class, have their cup of coffee from the local purveyors. Then they're going to go out on the water, or they're going to travel to town and so forth. Afterwards, they're going to unwind with a nice mindful session of some kind of
lemonade.
Pilates. They're going to get a lemonade midday to try to reboot that energy, maybe with a cup of coffee. Our sponsorships, and not to mention, they're going to know where it all goes. So Phoenix Revolution is going to be part of this as well. We have to maintain all the usable attributes to our community. But the idea being is, again, open up Cohasset to a large group of individuals that are not familiar with what Cohasset's all about. Did I forget anything?
You got it up?
No, you mentioned the student ambassadors.
Oh, yes, and thank you for that.
Techniques, etc. And then they will take a shuttle from Holly Hill Farm down to the harbor. So we can go to the next slide, please. And we'll work with the Cohasset lobstermen and keep our group small, no more than 20 visitors each time. We'll start at about 3 o'clock at Holly Hill Farm, then we'll end up here about 4:30, 4:45. We'll hop on the boats, we'll go out, we'll harvest our lobsters, we'll talk about the feasibility of that, how hard lobstermen work, how lobstering has changed over the years, what they feel needs to happen so that it can continue to be sustainable. So we'll learn about similar things on the sea as we learned about at the farm. And then we'll head over to, this is the best part, the Cohasset Conservation Trust, who's also part of our group. We'll head over to Bassing Beach, where we'll have on the beach, what do you call it? A lobster bake. We'll have a lobster bake right on the beach, and we can switch the beach set. But while you're waiting for your food that you've harvested and caught off the boats to cook, we will have CCSCR representatives come to the beach to give an ecological tour about the history of Bassing Beach and Cohasset Harbor in general, and the research that's being done right there on
by the middle
eelgrass.
schoolers.
Exactly, and other research that's being done at CCSCR to improve the sustainability overall. If it's a rainy day, you will still get wet and dirty. You'll go out on the lobster boat first. Then you'll come back to Holly Hill Farm, where you'll have the farm tour, and you'll have your dinner inside a tomato barn, which is how old?
1785.
From 1785, post and beam tomato barn. So you'll still have a great experience. While you're waiting on the beach, you could swim, you could kayak, you could paddleboard. Those things will be there for you, snorkeling, etc., as well as a CCSCR representative. We will need the one shuttle back and forth from Holly Hill Farm to where we are. We can do the parking there just because our size is so limited. You can go to the next slide, see our menu, of course, will not be a typical lobster boil, although we'll have the lobsters and the steamers. We'll also have fresh greens, fresh berries, maybe some local ice cream, something like that. Next slide. These are our community partners. We talked a lot about them. We have also a representative from the North and South Waters Rivershed who will help the CCSCR to be trained on how to talk about the ecological our water resources here in Cohasset. And we hope that the money that we raise, any proceeds that we earn, will go back to these organizations to help to grow them and so that they can go out and work on other endeavors. That's it. Except our brains, so that's what we're down
feedback from you?
I love this, and I love that you mentioned snorkeling in the harbor, which I'm not sure how much you can see, but that would be really interesting.
It's really cool deal.
try.
I mean, I worked with CSCR for several years, and as Susan can attest, because she's in charge of that group right now, there is a lot to see.
Because I think this is more, as much a question for this group as all of them. Everyone here has a conservation background or research or a somewhat academic background or farm to table sustainability. Most of the world doesn't have that. So what's the balance of like how much we educate and give people that experience versus just fun stuff you want to come do? And by the way, you get a little of that exposure as well. And I don't know the balance of that. That was just my question.
Well, we really thought about that, how a lot of people can't afford or don't have a location to go have a lobster meet on the beach. So I think that it would be something that would be very attractive to individuals to have the opportunity to do that. And to work that little education bit in and the fun. It's fabulous.
And the fact that it's a nonprofit is fabulous. So people feel good about what they're doing, they give back to the town, they're supporting the town resources. And you're right, a lot of people don't have access to that type of experience.
That kind of meal, yeah.
Would your lobster be just exclusively Cohasset lobster or just any old name?
Oh no, we use the lobster that you just caught.
Right.
Or
one not just
They might have caught earlier in the day. They're usually done by 3.
Back here.
I really liked how you tied in the sustainability piece from both the farm and it would be echoed with the shore activities too.
Yeah, I agree with
It's
that.
really important to make those connections.
And with a rainy day, like a rainy day experience would still be great. Yes, you won't be on the beach, you won't have the snorkeling and the kayaking, but there's miles of trails there at Holly Hill.
And
So
a
you
quest,
have
a wonderful quest.
Yeah, and a wonderful quest. You'd have this totally different experience in the rain. And we think that you would feel fine eating your dinner in your bathing suit or your shorts and hiking shoes after having such a wonderful day of gathering it all.
I buy that for a lobster dinner, and particularly one that you're eating at a barn
Or on a beach. Yeah,
beach.
don't you think?
I agree
It
with
works
that.
out.
One of our farm partners actually is a local lobsterman new this year. So we've been talking about not only for our new food truck, if I have to put in a plug, maybe having some lobster rolls, but being able to buy lobster right from them. And also Holly Hill does have a guided, 5 guided walks that we already have for self-guided walks at the farm. We would incorporate that into that.
Any other feedback for this group?